So over the last 2 years that I had this YouTube channel, one of the comments that I get most often is to do with money, is to do with the fact of like, how much money do you earn, or how much money can animators make? Can I survive as an animator? Is there enough money in animation for me to make a career of? My parents don't believe that there's a career here, but I really love animation, so can you tell me more about the money that animators receive? So that is basically the kind of comments that I'm getting. Now, I think it's time for me to actually make a video about animation salaries, how much you earn in games, from all the way from like a junior to like a director level. I'm gonna break it down, and this is gonna be really interesting to actually kind of take you guys through this journey, because I think that there's a lot of interesting facts here. So let's get started with this next episode. So before I get started, make sure you actually smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't, and if you really dig this video, drop a comment down below and let me know what you think about this subject. It's really interesting to hear your thoughts. I try to reply to all the comments, so drop us a comment. So before I get started talking about money and salaries, I like to highlight the fact that every job is different, every country is different, and every company is different. And what I mean by that is that salaries very much change depending on where you work, so where you're located around the world, which company you work for, and how much they want you or how much they want to pay you. So it gets to the point that there is no ceiling to how much you actually can get offered, because what happens is this industry is based on talent. Doesn't matter if you're a programmer, an artist, an animator, like whatever you are in the games industry, there is so much money going through the games industry that what people want, especially as of late, is talent. So companies are willing to actually pay the money as long as you show them talent. So a lot of people ask me that I live in a certain place of the world, therefore I probably will never be able to work in Europe or in the US. But what I tell them all the time is that as long as you have a showreel that is really kick-ass, like companies will actually come and get you, because what people want in this industry is talent. This also applies to salaries. So if you're really good and if you showcase talent and you worked in a cool game and you made a huge difference in the game because you invented something or you created something like that was like amazing, people will come for you and they will pay you the right amount of money so you can work for them, right? Now, let's break down some numbers. I have to actually give a massive thanks to Skill Search, because Skill Search, they actually put together an annual review of salaries. It's a survey that they do. They ask a lot of people. They are basically like a middleman between the talent and the companies, and they actually find the talent for the companies, and sometimes it's full-time, sometimes it's part-time. I've worked with them before, great people. So every year they actually put out a survey of salaries and benefits that for the industry globally and then locally as well in the UK. Because this is YouTube and this goes global, I'm gonna focus on the global numbers so you guys can see, but I'm also gonna break down a little bit about the local stuff that happens more in Western Europe and America maybe. So to highlight what I meant before about how different the salaries change depending on where you live, I'm gonna break down the very first number, which is gonna be average salaries by continent. And this is salaries of the games industry in general, not just animation. So in Eastern Europe, the average salary is about £24,000. So all the numbers that I'm going to give you are in pounds. If it's dollars, just think a little bit less than pounds because the pound is a little bit higher. But yeah, in Eastern Europe, it's about £24,000 or so. That's an average from everyone working in the industry. In Western Europe, it's about 32,300. In the UK, it's 38.4. In Canada, 45.5. So in the US, it's about 85,000 pounds, and this is per year, right? So massive difference. So just Canada is like, it's almost double of Canada that is the next one up. So this highlights how much of a difference there is depending on geographically where you are working and how much you can claim for what you do in games. The most important thing that everyone is here to actually look at is the average salary per category, right? Depending on the type of animator that you are. So this actually takes a look at artists. Artists, obviously, animators come under artists. So you can expect to actually kind of these numbers to be pretty much roughly right. So think about this is actually a number, but don't think that this is what you're gonna get. As you start as an animator, very much in the beginning, you can get a little bit less or a little bit more depending on where you are. Remember that. So globally, as an average, US, Western Europe, Eastern Europe, if you are an animator and you're just getting started, you're just a graduate, you're just about to start working, you can expect an average of about 22 grand a year to be paid to you. If you actually kind of go up, so you actually go into a junior position, you can expect an average of about 25 grand a year or so, 25,000 pounds a year. So if you're a mid-level animator, so now you actually bumped up, you've been a few years in the industry, you know what you're doing, you shipped a game or two, therefore you actually kind of get more money, right? So you should expect somewhere between 30 and 32, 33,000 pounds a year for you as a mid-level animator. Now, as a senior animator, things start to get interesting because your salary kind of goes up. With the salary going up, it means that you're going to have much more responsibility because you're now a senior animator. You're supposed to be a bit more autonomous. You're supposed to actually take care either of a part of a game or animate with very little instruction because you know exactly what to do because you've been here for a while. Now, as a senior animator, your salary normally starts at around 45,000 pounds, but it can go up. So we're now getting into that level that things can go up to a level that you can have much more or just about 45 or so thousand pounds a year, depending on how much companies want you and how much talent do you have. Now, if you're a lead or a manager globally, that taking into account all the salaries combined from all continents that actually have a lot of animation talent in the games industry. Now, because you're managing people, because you're leading a team, you can expect your salary to start from about 50,000 pounds or so, and then kind of climb up from there. But 50,000 is pretty much like the standard, can be a bit below depending on where you work, right? But 50,000 pounds or above should be what you normally earn. And there's also another level up just above lead, which is a principal animator. So I'll explain in a future video about what a principal animator does, but you can think about it as in like, he's someone that is very specific and someone that is very essential for the team to drive the project forward. They're not really the directors, but they are very essential to the team for the vision and for counseling and to actually make sure that, you know, the project drives forward and it has all the right ingredients. So principal animator normally starts from about 51 grand to 52, and then it goes above. A principal animator normally means that you are somebody that have a lot of experience, perhaps somebody that doesn't want to actually direct or have all that like responsibility on top of your head, but you still want to animate and you still want to actually make things, big things happen. That's a principal animator, and you can expect the salary to start from there. Just like I said before, because seniors and leads and principal animators are very much different depending on the experience they have, how long they've been working, the talent, these salaries can go up and down. And ultimately you have a director. So a director is like right at the level that you actually have to be. Directors' salaries change a lot, once again, depending on the experience that you have. If you shipped a lot of games as a director, if you ship a lot of AAA games as a director, if you've done something amazing, then, you know, the sky is the limit. But it should actually start from around 70,000 a year plus as a director for you to actually earn that every year. So you should start about 70,000 a year for a director, and that's basically what's needed. And obviously with the more experience, the more salary, etc., etc. Now, something that I found super interesting in this survey and something that doesn't get taken into account is extra things on top of your salary. Something that a lot of companies, depending on how big the company is, they will add on top of your salary. So for all of those out there that are just thinking numbers and salaries and big money and all that stuff, this is not actually it. So before you actually go into that, just know that this is not actually the end of how much money you can earn in games. Because what happens is, depending on the size of the company, especially if it's like a AAA company, you get bonuses. If you're actually just getting started and if you're thinking like, if I'm gonna get a job, I'm definitely gonna ask for this amount or that amount, know that you have to be flexible, because what happens is sometimes companies offer you less, but then the benefits are more. So pension, they have an amazing pension scheme. Or bonuses. They have amazing bonuses. Maybe you get 2 bonuses a year, 1 bonus a year, and it's actually quite a lot of money. There's quite a lot of things like that that allow you to actually have a salary that pretty much hits these numbers or goes above these numbers if you play your cards right. Now, each country has their pros and cons. So for example, in the US, even though you get a salary that in terms of numbers, you get like a huge salary, you have to pay a lot of that salary out to things like healthcare or other things. Same thing depending, for example, where you live. For example, in Sweden, when I used to work, the salaries were pretty good, but then the rent is quite high depending on where you live. So you have to take that into account as well. So you getting a salary doesn't mean that being high or low is a great thing. It's not only about getting that 6-figure salary or whatever it is that people talk about, because you really have to look at the work that you're going to be doing and where the company is located and where is that. So that's basically what you're looking at in terms of salaries. So each job, see it as an individual thing, analyze it, do your research, and don't put off a job just because they don't offer you enough money. Make sure you actually look at what the job entails, where the job is located, more or less the average salaries. You can go to a place like a Glassdoor, is a really good website for you guys to actually look at individual companies, how much they pay, what's the average salary, how much are your expenses in terms of your daily expenses and food and rent and all of that. So just see each job as an individual job. Don't focus on the money, because at the end of the day, whenever you go to a job, being passionate about the company, being passionate about the job that you're going to be doing is the #1 thing that matters for the company. And if you actually showcase too much, that you're just after the money, then normally you get a no from the company. So see it that way. Make sure that you actually kind of get through the door, get your first job, and then basically start actually looking at the numbers. After you're actually in the industry, working away, it's been a few years, that's when you have to start looking at the numbers, making sure you're getting paid right. Because getting paid right is essential in this industry, because it's a creative industry and you can only be creative even if you're not thinking about money, but you're thinking about creativity. So I hope this video helps you all. I hope this gives you more of an insight about how much money people make and how much money you should expect in your career as you progress through the ranks. And that's all I had for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, don't forget to smash the like button, subscribe if you haven't so far, and drop a comment down below about what you think about all these numbers. Do they make sense to you? Are they confusing? If you have any questions, drop a comment down below. I'll make sure to answer them. See you guys next week. Until then, stay well, stay safe. Peace.